kind of put this list together. When I was putting this presentation together, I thought, let's put a list together. And it is amazing how many benefits there are that makes webinar marketing stand head and shoulders above everything else. If you were to commit to doing webinar marketing, for example, depending on your objectives or why you're trying to do this, you can get away with doing all your marketing in 1 hour a quarter, or half an hour a week, or 1 hour a month. You decide how you want to do this. I would strongly recommend that you do it on a consistent basis, because you will find that when you start doing this, your clients will absolutely love this. They will love this format because it is educational. So it takes you no time at all to do your marketing. It's cheap. I mean, we don't have to go anywhere. We don't have to hire a hotel. We don't have to travel anywhere. We don't have to pay for lunch. It is one to many, which is a very powerful form of marketing. It is incredibly scalable. So for example, you could do a live one, record it, and then just have it going over and over again on your website, and you can do more and more of them. By definition, the right attendees will sign up for this. They are getting value from an expert, that's you. You can also do a panel version as well, so where you build relationships with other experts. Maybe you want to interview people. The fact that you're even doing it at all establishes your area of expertise. I mean, if you write an article, it suggests you have expertise. If you write a book, it suggests you've got a great deal of expertise. If you do a seminar, it suggests you have expertise. And if you put on a webinar, all of those apply as well. It builds trust. It's really, really engaging. It takes practice to get the presentation skills right to make it as engaging, and Jez is going to talk about that later on. It enhances your brand value. It generally is a source of fantastic leads as well, builds really long-term relationships, and there is a natural next step for your webinar attendees to take afterwards. There are lots of stats. I'm not going to bore you with statistics, but the simple fact of the matter is that marketers and people who do webinars tell you this works. And there are many, many businesses around the world that base their entire marketing and lead generation activities around webinars. Let me give you a real example. Now, this is Jeff from the United States, and he was one of those financial advisors that had always used a range of different types of marketing. Something would work once for a month, and something else he'd use. He'd try a variety of different things until somebody convinced him that he needed to be putting on webinars. He did his first one, 23rd of June last year. 377 people registered, which is huge. I mean, one of the things I'm going to say in the next step, where we're talking about getting people to actually turn up, is start small. You don't need those kind of numbers. 76 people turn up, 3 people scheduled a call during the webinar, 3 more scheduled within 2 days, and you can see from those numbers there that the clients he attracted were pretty impressive as well. So Jeff was very much sold on this, and after he got over his initial nerves of what do I talk about, how do I get bums on seats, and are my presentation skills up to it enough, he was absolutely sold on this whole thing. So what are the different types of webinar models that are out there, and which ones actually work for financial advisors? Now, we're probably all familiar with, and you're very familiar with, the traditional webinar model, where you sign up, and you sign up because also there's going to be a bit of a freebie at the end of it, and you get somebody who will do an hour worth of kind of average to fairly good content, and then there's an hour of sales pitch afterwards. Now, I think a lot of financial advisors still think that is the webinar model that they need to follow. Financial advisors, for the most part, really are not salespeople in that sense. They're not going to do a presentation and then a pitch. So that's the model which most people are familiar with, but that's the one which financial advisors really don't want to go anywhere near. Now, you can see how it works. There are no cameras. You have medium to a large group of people. It's just a simple PowerPoint presentation, screen share of information, free to attend. You can watch it live and you can watch it again later. A variation on that theme is perhaps using an interactive whiteboard. Maybe having a big screen next to you which you can actually write on, or something like that. But instead of a 50-50 split of content and sales, you have 85% high content and then a very professional offer. And by professional offer, as far as a financial advisor is concerned, it would be something along the lines of, if you would like to work with us, please talk to us. It's as simple as that. But there's a right and a wrong way to do that, and I'll talk to that a little bit later on. Usually that kind of model is done live and there is no recording. And in your marketing you say there will be no recording, and that actually attracts more people because they don't want to miss out. Another type of model which is becoming quite popular is a small to large group, no cameras on Zoom or anything like that. It's just again a straight screen share of information. The whole thing is content, a bit like what we're doing here today. It's free to attend and it's live and recorded, and another version of that as well, small to large group, no cameras, live and recorded as well. But you could charge people to attend. So if you think again in terms of the value ladder, a financial advisor could use a webinar to attract new clients and to add value to existing clients, but further up, for a certain group of clients who are willing to pay, they will pay for the webinar as well. So that's another variation as well. But the one that that will work for most financial advisors is this really simple one here. There is another type of model as well, which is becoming increasingly popular, known as a kind of boardroom briefing. Now these are a little bit more upmarket. Smaller number of people attend, no more than 10 people maximum. It is a straight information share. There is no upsell as well. So it's a bit more upmarket. So maybe you'll have some clients who want to go deeper on a particular area of expertise that you have, and that will be absolutely ideal for them as well. A financial advisor might want to put on one of those every single quarter. They need to be no longer than 45 minutes, something like that. And there's another version of that as well, where you have a small group of people, but it becomes very interactive as well. So everyone will have their cameras on, and it is literally like sitting around a boardroom table, and we can interact, we can engage, you can ask questions, I can throw ideas out, get your feedback. We could do exercises as well, that kind of thing. So those are the kind of models, and both of those will work for financial advisors as well. One final model, the interview one, where you, the financial advisor, will literally interview a local business person, a professional introducer, one of your business friends, or even a client for that matter as well. And they are pretty engaging as well. Now, we want to make sure this succeeds, and I cannot stress this one up, just how important this particular point is. You must have an objective for your webinar. Just as if you guys were putting on a seminar, you've got to have an objective. If you want, one of the single biggest reasons why financial advisors' seminars don't get bums on seats is because they haven't got a plan, they haven't got a clear objective. And your objective could be one of a number of things. You want to do more communication, you want to strengthen relationships, highlight your expertise, add value, attract more clients, but you must write one down. You also need to have another objective, and that's an objective for your attendees. You've got to decide in advance what is it that you want them to do, or to remember, or to act on, or even purchase as a result of attending your webinar. So really important that you have those two objectives. How long is this going to take? If you were thinking, right, okay, I buy into this, Phil, I'm going to put my first webinar, put your date in the diary 3 months from now. Because you're going to spend the first month messing around, jotting down ideas. You've got a business to run in the meantime. Don't just think, right, I'm going to put on a webinar next week. Well, you can do that after you've been doing this for quite a long time. So give yourself a good 3 months to do this as well. Lots of people ask me, what's the best day to do this? The general opinion is that Wednesdays between 11 and 2 are the best times to do those. Definitely not on a Monday, definitely not on a Friday. If you want to do longer events, perhaps half a day, full day, then Saturdays work quite well. But for most financial advisors, middle of the day on a Wednesday works perfectly fine. Also, when you think about how do we plan this, there are various considerations that you need to get right. So how often? I think for most financial advisors, if you could replace your email newsletter, which for most advisors goes out once a month, a once a month webinar would work really well. But if you really want to up your game on this, and if you plan it well enough, there's no reason why you couldn't do one every single week. Start small, just get 3 or 4 people on just to start with, just to do proof of concept. Think about your content. Do you want to script it? Do you want to use PowerPoint, something like that? Which of the webinar models I've just described do you think are going to work well? What platform you're going to use? And you can see from this slide here, the typical sort of webinar platforms that are available. I mean, there's loads and loads of them, but if you as a financial advisor, you're already used to using Zoom, then use Zoom. Zoom's got its own webinar functionality. You've got to pay 30 quid for a month's use of a webinar platform, but that means you can then do a larger number of people. So it doesn't really matter what the platform is that you use, but you just give this a go, yeah?